Welcome to the Gadsden Art Center and the exhibition Dean Mitchell's American West, Poverty and the Human Spirit. This audio tour will take about 20 minutes and feature a short biography of the artist Dean Mitchell, his vision for the exhibition, and additional information about several paintings in the exhibition. Dean Mitchell was born in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania in 1957 and raised here in the small North Florida city of Quincy. His small-town upbringing and experiences of growing up in the rural panhandle have consistently shaped Mitchell's artistic expression. Raised by his grandmother Marie, while his mother Hazel attended college, Mitchell's family had a small income. From the time he was 8, Mitchell went to work in the tobacco fields to help support his family. His grandmother taught him to live within his means, be thankful for what he had, and to work hard for what he wanted. Mitchell's interest in art began as a young child when he was given a paint-by-number set. Despite the misgivings of others, Mitchell's interest in art grew over time, and around age 12, he began saving his lunch money to buy art supplies. In the 9th grade, Mitchell nearly quit art because he didn't believe he had the technical ability. However, his high school art teacher, Tom Harris, acted as an early champion of his work, encouraging him because of Mitchell's ability to see abstractly and to create interesting compositions. Harris emphasized that Mitchell could learn skill and technique, but having the eye for a composition is very difficult to teach. Mr. Harris helped Mitchell by taking him to art fairs and competitions and helped him to further develop his skills. After graduating from high school, Mitchell attended the Columbus College of Art and Design in Ohio. While there, he began entering professional art competitions and juried art shows and earned money by selling his paintings. Entering as many shows as he could, Mitchell began to build his professional reputation while still in school. He set himself apart early with his exceptional work ethic, passion for learning, and genuine love of painting, qualities that fueled his growing success. Upon graduation from college, Mitchell went to work for Hallmark Cards, but left after a short time to pursue fine art full-time. From his humble beginnings, Dean Mitchell has achieved remarkable success in an increasingly competitive art world. At 27, he became one of the youngest signature members of the American Watercolor Society, an organization that has been around for almost 150 years. His visible talent, clear vision and drive, and prolific creativity continue to set him apart from other contemporary artists. Dean Mitchell's vision for American West, Poverty and the Human Spirit is to challenge you. This exhibition breaks from the traditional, often romantic views of the American West, such as grand views of the natural landscape or victorious cowboys atop rearing horses, to present another reality. After visiting the Salt River Pima Maricopa Indian community in 2012, Mitchell was struck by the difference between those romanticized views of the West and what he witnessed on his drive through this community, especially its visual similarities to where he grew up, here in Quincy, Florida. As a young man, Mitchell grew up with very little, but he has reflected on the strength of the people he knew and the sense of community, and how it differed from what he witnessed in his visit to Salt River.
No matter how much little they had, they seemed to have took pride in it. They seemed to were able to take care of it or something, and I didn't sense that overall. And that's not to say that some people weren't trying to take care of what they had, but I thought there must be something deeper going on here.
The Salt River Pima Maricopa Indian Community, a 52,600-acre community comprised of 2 distinct Native American tribes, Pima and Maricopa, is located just outside of Phoenix, Arizona. Mitchell first visited the community with a friend who lives in Phoenix. After driving around the area, Mitchell says,
I was just mesmerized by the poverty. It actually reminded me of my own neighborhood in which I grew up in the 60s. And so I was very, very taken with that. But it appeared to me that the Native American had been so romanticized in the Western culture. And I thought, wow, this is something that I can sink my teeth into because I know what poverty is. I grew up poor. I understand it and understand its sensibility. And when I saw the structures, it just reminded me of a lot of areas in Quincy even today.
As an African-American man, Mitchell is not a stranger to the challenges of being marginalized and starting with little.
I know what it's like to almost get thrown out of art school for $200, not knowing if I was going to even go back. because I didn't have the money. So I also know what it's like to be fired and have my little car broken into and living in an apartment, a small apartment on Armour Boulevard where roaches falling all over the place and he's trying to get rid of them. And I know what it's like not to know where my next dollar is coming from. I know what it's like not to have health insurance for years. I know what it's like to look in the mirror and say, you are poor. All you have is your talent and your education. What are you going to do? So I know what it's like to be poor. I remember going to college and the first time I'd ever gone into a museum, and I'm just like walking through the museum. I'm like, wow, this is really something. Wow, this is just amazing. Look at what people are able to do with the human hands and the ability to draw and paint. And I was just mesmerized. And here was this beautiful building that was built to hold what we consider priceless sense of culture of our nation. And as I walked through, I didn't see anything that reflected anything of myself. And I thought, wow, I can't even describe the feeling of it. It was like being present without having a presence.
The experience of visiting the Salt River Indian community clearly struck a chord with Mitchell, as he dedicated an entire body of work to depicting what he first saw that day. His goal with this exhibition is to challenge you, the viewer, to create a sense of dialogue about a particular space. A place can have a huge psychological and spiritual impact on one's sense of self.
Structures are more than just buildings. They reflect their lives. It's not just some dilapidated building that I've decided to paint, but these buildings represent life itself in some spiritual and moral way in the physical world.
As you look around the exhibition, you may notice that there are no people depicted. While there are homes, buildings, motorcycles, cars, irrigation systems, fences, and more that hint at the presence of people, they are not included in any of the works. For an artist such as Dean Mitchell, who is known not only for his landscapes, but also for his realistic and emotive portraits, it's a deliberate choice to not include any people.
No one picks and chooses how they're born. In other words, no one picks and chooses their economic status in life. We are born, we are here, we are born into a space. And so I wanted people to look at the space and perhaps imagine themselves in that space. Even though it's about the Pure Maricopa Reservation, this could be in a town in Florida. It could be in a rural town in Indianapolis or anywhere.
Dean Mitchell challenges the viewer, saying, place yourself in an impoverished space to see how it would feel psychologically and to be constantly confronted with this kind of atmosphere. And how does that affect your spiritual growth? How does that affect your health? How does that affect your attitude towards life?
Poverty is more than just a physical presence. These spaces have psychological, spiritual effects on people. And so I wanted people to look at them as in some way a portrait of an environment and to imagine themselves in that space. And now to say to you, can you work your way out of this space into a better life?
While Mitchell is an outsider to this particular community, he is painting his experience of the space and his relationship with spaces like it, and encouraging you, the viewer, to reflect on your own environment and spaces like those that you see in the series. In this exhibition, there are watercolor and oil and acrylic paintings, as well as drawings and sketches. Dean Mitchell has said,
I think my painting style will change and do all kinds of things. I'm still experimenting.
Though abstraction has long been central to Mitchell's works, with layering and blending of colors, particularly in his watercolors, some works in this exhibition go even further into loose abstraction, while others hold more concrete forms. For example, on the back right wall of the gallery, Dean Mitchell's trailer park scatter and Pima relic are dramatically different. The former is a chaotic sprawl of debris, twisted trees, and the blending of colors so layered that the sky, the trees, and the ground almost blend into one. It's executed in browns, grays, and greens with a hint of blue, and stands out as one of the most loosely painted pieces in the exhibition. In contrast, Pima Relic is a realistic oil painting of a hexagonal building. In this piece, Mitchell uses more saturated hues, bright orange, rich browns, pops of turquoise, and a beautiful blue and purple sky. In contrast to the loose flow of the watercolor, this oil is a more geometric representation of the structure, with flat areas of color in which color combinations define mood. For another, more direct view of the differences between the ways Dean Mitchell paints in watercolor and in oil, I encourage you to look at the first right wall in the gallery by the display case, with two pieces both titled Dry Rot, one in watercolor and one in oil. Though the same subject, the mediums make each unique. And, for even more comparison, within the display case at the front of the gallery, there are pencil and watercolor sketches of the same dry rotting tree. And in the lobby, there's an acrylic of the same scene. What about this particular scene do you think was interesting to Dean Mitchell, that he would explore it in so many different mediums? Perhaps it's the combination of the tree, the debris, and the fragmented house, all in one scene? Whatever it may be, something about this particular space was very impactful on Dean Mitchell. He also has a wider view of the scene called Debris, which is located at the back of the gallery on the right wall. Throughout the series, you may notice several other repeating themes and images. One theme prevalent in the works is fences, walls, or posts near the foreground of the painting that separate the scene from the viewer. For example, in Swamp Box, which is located on the back wall of the gallery, we are closed off from the view of the house. A fence, door, and various items block our view. In this work, we're also given a focused view without hints of distant mountains or deserts. This intimate and closed-off view seems to say that though bathed in sunlight, something is hidden, something's tucked away, isolated, abandoned, behind these walls. Another work that follows this theme is Beware Poverty Explosion, located on the back wall of the gallery. Behind two rows of chain link fences, one near us, which takes up nearly half of the image, and one farther away, there are piles of debris, including possibly construction materials and what appears to be a car door. Next to this is a gray building with a rusting roof. Farther behind the piles of debris, trees abstractly fade into another building, almost disappearing into the sky. Once again, in Dead End, which is found on the wall to the right of the double doors with the rolling ladder, we see a fence. This one covered so that we cannot see through it, blocking out our view of the home. A warped chain link fence follows the dead-end road to the flat fence that blocks our view, as telephone lines and a tall palm tree reach towards the sky. Like in Beware Poverty Explosion, Dean Mitchell paints the man-made elements, abstractly fading into nature through the trees and sky, almost feathering away. In this piece, everything seems still, like there's no way out. The environment itself becomes a challenge that one must escape, which can be difficult because, as Dean Mitchell points out,
it just seems like people think you can easily work your way out of a situation, and just because America is known for a place of opportunity, but we all know very few make it out.
Overall in this exhibition, while challenging us to look closely, Dean Mitchell hopes to make viewers sensitive to being born into a particular space.
I want them to look at them not as just run-down buildings, but these are people's lives are woven into this environment. And I think structures can say a lot.
When discussing this series over a year ago at the Gaston Art Center's Master Artist exhibition, Dean Mitchell said, "Poverty is more than just the physical aspect of something. There is something spiritually happening in a space in which people have been marginalized." He also says, "I want you to see history and how we can reshape history through our images and be sensitive to what has happened in the past and learn how to build better bridges because some of that history is not a pleasant history. We cannot sweep that history under the rug no matter how painful, no matter how unpleasant. We have to deal with it. And the best way I feel as an artist is to go into these environments and to reflect back on the environment, and hopefully that you will be sensitive to their space. And hopefully more art centers will prop up and give them hope, because the arts inspire. They inspire where there is little hope." Indeed, Mitchell hopes that this exhibition will inspire viewers to make a change, to ask, what can I do? How can I help? After all,
art has the ability to transcend so many different lives in different ways, either through music or through painting. They have a way of opening your eyes to a world that you knew nothing about.
as you continue to browse the other works in this exhibition, I encourage you to consider the themes we've discussed. Do you see any other examples? Are there other themes across the works that you see? Please share your thoughts and questions in our comment book on the pedestal at the front of the gallery. The Gadsden Art Center sincerely appreciates your visit and hopes you have enjoyed this audio tour. Please note there are early works by Dean Mitchell on display in the second floor galleries, including prints and original paintings that are part of the Gadsden Art Center's permanent collection. Please also take some time to view Glenn Simeon's exhibition, Reborn, in the Zoe Galloway Gallery, and to visit the Gadsden Art Center gift shop, where exhibition catalogs and books about Dean Mitchell are available to purchase. Thank you for listening to this audio tour.